ISO 9001:2015, what a shop floor employee needs to know. So begin with what is ISO. ISO stands for International Standard Organization, and ISO governs a number of standards for various categories. For example, if you want to go for certification under quality management system, you will go for ISO 9001. If you want to go and prove that you're compliant to environmental management system, you will go for ISO 14001. And there are various other standards which ISO governs. What is quality policy and where to find it? So every company defines its policy as how to achieve excellence and customer satisfaction. This very statement is called the quality policy. Quality policy is posted in several areas in the company and is made accessible to everyone. You should know where to find the quality policy and what role your job function plays to achieve the quality policy of the company. So the question is, do you really know what a company quality policy is and whom to ask? ISO 9000 2015, what happened here is this version in 2015 emphasized a lot on the PDCA cycle. PDCA cycle is a simple continuous improvement cycle, and their four-step PDCA stands for plan, do, check, and act. So you plan something to improve, you plan something to do, and you do it according to the plan, and you go back and check if you did according to the plan, what you did according to the plan, and it really working. If it's not working, you do fine tuning and do it again. So that circle goes on, and that is called a PDCA cycle or a plan, do, check, and act cycle. ISO 9000 2015 revision emphasized a lot on this PDCA cycle, and everything should like govern according to this PDCA cycle. So let's talk about the clause number 7, which is support of ISO 9001 2015. There are 10 clauses, but there are 2 or 3 clauses which are more relevant to the people on the floor, and this is one of the most relevant clauses. The first one in this clause 7.1 is resources. So management will provide, and every management in any company will provide the necessary resources, which includes tools, infrastructure, an appropriate work environment for employees so they can perform their jobs easily. 7.2 is competence. So people, it means people with the right skills and experience for the job. So you will always have people properly trained, properly experienced, and they do their job so they can do a better job for the customers. 7.3 is awareness. So team members should be properly trained for the job and need to be qualified before they can do the job on their own. So if somebody on its workplace for the first day or the second day, they cannot do the job by themselves unless they're properly trained and certified by a person who's expert in that job. That's really important. 7.4 is communication. Clear communication is key to success for any organization. The organization need to have a robust communication process so that required information like customer issues, deviations, raw material quality issues, etc. is communicated in time and with required clarity and accuracy. If you have doubt, please ask your supervisor. Documented information. Describe the organization's documentation, and the next slide will talk a lot more in detail about this one. So ISO documentation requirement. ISO basically gives you a, an idea about how your document system should look like, and so there are 4 levels which are defined under ISO. The top level is quality manual. Quality manual basically is one document which covers like a brief scenario of everything in the operation. One document which basically tells about the whole business from marketing, sales to after sales service. The second level of documentation is quality procedure. This is again a high level procedure, but every department or every function has its own procedure. For example, purchasing would have its own procedure, human resources would have its own procedure, and production would have its own procedure. Number 3 is work instruction, which is more related to the people on the floor. This is actually a step-by-step specific instruction or recipe to perform your job. You need to know that you are using the latest revision If in doubt, check with your supervisor or the quality team. And all of our instructions should reflect what you actually do and should be updated as applicable. And as ISO always says, write what you do and do what you write. The fourth level of ISO documentation is forms. So anything in the form shape that you actually fill out, we use for capturing and maintaining data. And please ensure you are using the latest revision, for example, the NCR forms, inspection reports, etc. A special note, avoid printing, copying, or keeping extra copies of work instruction or forms. On the shop floor, this is a normal practice that we will make like 200 copies so we are good for a year. This is really a bad practice. So if there is a new revision, you might not be informed, you might not know, and you may be using this old revision for like months and years. So that is really a bad practice. So do not make extra photocopies, and always consult your quality team if you're using the right revision of the document. Clause number 8 is operations. This is the heart of business. This is where everything happens. So everything on the floor, from receiving to manufacturing to the quality inspections to finishing and trimming, everything basically is operations. A lot of organizations put more checks in the operation. The best checks are the design controls and POKI/OKI or error proofing. So if you have error proofing or POKI/OKI in your process, please make sure that you check those POKI/OKI if they're functional every start of every shift. That is very critical. And record your results in your form given to you by your supervisor. And a good and comfortable work environment, employee involvement, and timely communication are the key factors for successful operation. So people who are working there, they should feel that they're comfortable, they have a good work environment, and they are involved, they are valued, and there's a timely and clear communication. These are the very important factors in successful operations. Control of non-conforming parts. We move to this topic, which is very important for any quality management system, and ISO also puts a lot of pressure on this. We need to ensure that all non-conforming or failed parts are properly identified, tagged, and separated from the main flow or the good parts. So good parts and bad parts cannot be stored together. They have to be clearly identified and have to be properly separated. In the quality world, we use three colors for color coding: green, yellow, and red. Most of you already know about it. So green are good parts. Green means you can move to the next stage. Yellow means there is a problem and nobody else can touch. Only the quality people can touch it, and it is waiting for disposition. Red means it's already failed, rejected, or scrap parts. So the quality color coding is quite universal, and we should try to stick to it. So do not try to change these color codings. This is very critical and very important. It's a universal language for quality people. Parts with yellow or red tags should be quarantined and should be reviewed by the quality personnel for final disposition. So if you are in doubt, put a yellow tag. If it is scrap or rejected, already you know that this is not a good part, put a red tag and then let the quality personnel review it for final disposition. Traceability. For maintaining a good quality process and avoid risks of shipping wrong, unapproved, incomplete parts, traceability is critical. It also helps in failure investigation. It is very critical in failure investigation because if a customer files a complaint, you can go back and check what was the issue with this part, when it was manufactured, who was the operator, where the machine, the error proofing was working at that day, where did we have a problem with the raw material that day. All these issues can be investigated if we have a proper traceability. Traceability relates to batch of raw material used, the time and day of certain processes performed, the machine used, the status of the inspection, and if any deviations were in place at the time of production. And we can use different methodologies like a proper traceability by barcoding at every single step, like FedEx and UPS. And when you go to track those packages, you can see like every stage is actually scanned, or printing labels at each stage, or having a manual travel card where an operator who receives it, he signs it off, and then you know where it is actually moving to. So that's like, but all these are basically meant for a proper traceability of the process and the product. Calibration is very critical, and a lot of auditors, ISO auditors, uh, put a lot of focus on calibration and making sure that the calibration system is really exists and is working properly. We use different measuring and monitoring tools and equipments like pressure gauges, vernier calipers, and all these equipments should be calibrated, and we should make sure that they are not malfunctioning. According to Wikipedia, calibration is the comparison of measurement values delivered by a device under test with those of calibration standard of known accuracy. So we actually use master equipments to calibrate our measuring equipments, and these master equipments are traceable to national or international standards. We have to ensure that we are using a measuring equipment with a valid calibration at all times. If there is any doubt, if there is a sticker missing, if there's a wrong date on it, or the rate date is expired, stop and notify the quality team, please. Clause number 10 talks about improvement, and 10.3 is continual improvement. Let's talk about what is improvement. So no organization can grow and prosper if it does not have a system for continuous improvement. Continuous improvement is the essence of the PDCA cycle. The PDCA cycle we talked in the beginning, the plan, do, check, and act cycle, and it's always a win-win situation. So in most scenarios, continuous improvement systems are placed in a way that every employee is able to give their suggestions for continuous improvement, and they are rewarded no matter their suggestion is approved or not, but they're rewarded. So it's really a win-win situation, and that is actually the basis of Kaizen, or the Japanese term for continuous improvement. Employees involvement is critical to continuous improvement, where people are, and actually people who are closer to the problem need to be involved, and they most of the time really know because they live the process, they live the machine, they live there every day, they know the process more than anybody else. So they should be involved in resolving quality issues. Let's talk about Kaizen, a Japanese term. Employee suggestion system for continuous improvement plays a key role in involving all the brains on the floor. That is the basics of Kaizen, that they want to use all the brains on the floor and use their expertise and their experience with the actual process, because they live the process every day to improve on daily basis. That is basically the gist of continuous improvement. So if you have 400 employees and you get 20 improvement suggestions every day, you are improving like you're taking 40 good steps toward improvement every single day. That is big for any organization. That is really a success story. So let's summarize everything we learned today. ISO 9000 is a standard for running a quality management system. So ISO 9000 is basically related to quality management system. If we talk about environmental management system, that is ISO 14001. So next thing is we need to know about a quality policy and where to find it. Our quality policy is available on all workstations. So please make sure that you know and read it. So the auditor might ask you about it. Resources. Management will provide the necessary resources to perform their job. It includes the infrastructure, nice work environment, lighting, and everything is like included. Less noise, and then protection from any harm or injury, a safe environment. Four levels of document we talked about it. So there are 4 levels of quality documents in ISO. Quality manual, the top document. Procedures, which are departmental procedures. Work instructions, which are actually the recipe books for every single function. Forms, the form which basically you use to to report something or data collection. The most important part here is to make sure that we are using the current revision. We need to ensure that all non-conforming or failed parts are properly identified, tagged, and separated from the main flow or the good parts. That's very critical in quality management system. Proper traceability is critical to quality management system. So we talked about traceability, that every single process, every single part should be traceable as much as we can. This will really help us in improving our quality management system every day, especially in a case of a failure reported. We need to ensure that we only use calibrated measuring equipments. And last but not least, employee involvement, Kaizen, is critical to continuous improvement or continual improvement. These are the people who are closer to the problem, so they must be involved. Hope you understand. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.